Japan, long time no see. It is the first time since I left you almost 2.5 years ago. My friend Ben and I are doing a 3-day trip to Tsushima, a Japanese island between Kyushu and South Korea. Why Tsushima? We haven't been there yet and it's an island. So there must be other reasons why it's worth visiting Tsushima. Let's explore them together. Well, here you go. A reason to visit Tsushima is its nature. For example, its mountains. This here is Shiratake, one of the most famous peaks of the island. We'll go there first today. I am not a biologist, and to me, Tsushima's forest doesn't look any different than the forests on the coasts of Kyushu or Honshu. What is also not different is the occasional sacredness of mountains, in line with Japan's Shinto religion. Mount Shiratake is a sacred mountain, as clearly highlighted by a torii gate, marking the transition from the mundane to the sacred.
어?
내가 소주 내놨노?
아, 뒤다.
그거 왜 내놨어?
배운데 이거 대충 가르쳐주고 가보고, 씨.
와,
어? 얘기도 안 하고, 씨. 사람 다 깼네.
선호등산 등산. 야,
이거 갖다 죽겠다, 사람.
그러니까 이제
아이고, 하는데 있나?
그래 오늘 일로 오지.
絶対あとちょっと本当に本当にあとちょっとや
어? 형들아. 어? 일로 가. 일로 오면 돼. 있어. 이쪽으로 온다 상기야. 이게 안전해. 이쪽이 더 안 좋다.
Due to proximity to Korean peninsula, Tsushima is very popular for South Korean tourists. We will see many of them on this weekend. What we unfortunately won't see is the Korean peninsula itself, which should be visible from Tsushima's elevated spots in good weather.
대충 생각보다 굉장히 무서워. 올라갔다 봐야 돼. 내가 가르쳐나 안 그래도.
아까 저렇게 놔.
저쪽이라고 저쪽. 저 뒤에 저 뒤에.
이쪽은 뭐야?
그냥 앉아 있어도 뭐 작품이다.
와.
Day 2. We are at Watazumi Shrine, a popular tourist spot of Tsushima. I don't want to bore you and myself with the story of the Shinto deities which are enshrined here, but I want to touch two recent things about this shrine. First, due to some offensive behavior of South Korean tourists on the grounds of this shrine, foreigners were banned from entering it in January 2020. This ban substantially reduced the amount of South Korean tourists who visited Tsushima that year. Second, in autumn of the same year, a typhoon heavily damaged Watazumi Shrine, thus prompting a reparation crowdfunding campaign. Many of the donors were fans of the popular PlayStation game Ghost of Tsushima, which was released earlier the same year. As we heard from locals, many tourists are coming here because of that game. Ghost of Tsushima deals with Mongolian invasion of Japan in the area of Tsushima. Many game locations were inspired by real Tsushima scenery, including, for example, Watazumi Shrine. I'm not a huge fan of gaming, but I think it's great how a popular game can expedite local tourism. We are heading towards the north of the island and stop anywhere we find interesting. What is this Temple of Doom looming over there? It turns out to be just a town hall, a community center, and I thought it's some weird sect temple. This building was designed by Toyokazu Watanabe, an architect known for his temple and, how can I say it, body-inspired architecture in Japan. We are at Tsushima Wildlife Conservation Center, which is dedicated not only to, but mainly to the Tsushima leopard cat, or Tsushima Yamaneko. This feline species is unique to Tsushima and is a subspecies of the leopard cat found in all of South and East Asia. Tsushima leopard cat is an endangered and hence a protected species. Today's estimation is that something between 90 and 100 animals are living on the island. The main problem of the extinction trend is, as usual, the human invasion of the animal's natural habitat. There is also an issue of rival animals, such as martens, dogs, or domestic cats, with the last transmitting diseases to the Tsushima leopard cat. This conservation center has the goal to educate the locals about the endangered cats and with various measures hopefully increase or at least stabilize the cats' number on Tsushima. Without any sarcasm, good luck with that. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing Tsushima leopard cats during this trip live, neither in nature nor in this conservation center. At this moment, cats are out of office due to a lunch nap. "22 days since the last roadkill. Continuing with the reasons for visiting Tsushima. We already had mountains, shrines, kind of temples and cats. Another valid reason would be Tsushima's military forts and batteries, built from the late 1880s through the 1930s. More about this on our last day, but today we have a chance to explore Toyo battery ruins. Toyo is located on the far northern tip of Tsushima, where a battleship's main cannon was placed in March 1934. Not used in actual battle, it has taken on the guise of a phantom fort, with the barracks, pedestal and ammunition storerooms recalling the appearance of that time. What a terrific place, in all meanings of the adjective terrific. Before we call it a day, we visit a monument to once the highest building in Japan, the Omega Tower. It stood almost 455 meters tall until it was surpassed by the Tokyo Skytree in 2010. Take a look at this monster, whose main body was supported by a large number of wires spanning almost a square kilometer across Shushi Bay. Omega was a pre-GPS radio navigation system operated by the US in cooperation with the 6 partner nations. There were in total 8 Omega radio beacons in the world, with the one maintained by Japan in Tsushima. Omega enabled ships and airplanes to determine their position by receiving very low frequency radio signals in the range 10 to 14 kHz with a position precision to ± 2.2 km. The Omega Tower of Tsushima was erected in 1975 and served until the end of the 1990s with a gradual introduction of the more superior satellite-based GPS. After the demolition, the Omega Tower site was developed into a park with about 10 meters from the ground remaining as a monument. On our last day in Tsushima, we are going to further explore its military past. The first location to visit in the morning is Himegayama Cannon Ruins, remains of an old Japanese military fortress built in anticipation of the Russo-Japanese War of 1904-1905. This place is also said to be an inspiration for the sky-floating fortress of the Studio Ghibli's film Laputa, The Castle in the Sky. Due to its geographically strategic location, Tsushima was always utilized for military purposes. There were more than 30 military forts built all over the island, all those batteries, red brick storages and other concrete facilities. Reminders of Japan's imperial past, which nowadays, combined with Tsushima's nature, create a uniquely fascinating retro atmosphere. We are in the middle of the island and are exploring its western shore, with a hike to yet another fortress ruins and also a landing place of a Russian ship. In 1861, a Russian ship called Posadnik arrived in Imozaki Bay. The Russians dropped anchor here, built temporary shelters and dug a well, staying for about 6 months. This was the so-called Tsushima incident, in which the Russian Empire attempted to make Tsushima its base for later expansions. After rising tensions and negotiations with the Russians, the Japanese government asked the British envoy for help, who immediately dispatched 2 ships forcing the Russians to leave. The tensions between Russia and Japan would not cease and later result in the Russo-Japanese War. "44 years after the Tsushima incident, the Russian Imperial Navy was destroyed by the Japanese in the Battle of Tsushima. By the way, the Russians are not to blame for all this garbage. I haven't seen such a messy Japanese shore for a long time. Anyway, we decide to hike further up to the Imozaki lighthouse. What good would Japan be without its cuisine? Our last meal in Tsushima is a very, very delicious omuraisu. We are not living here without enjoying the local onsen. Thanks for having us, Tsushima Yamaneko. So sorry we could not meet in person. Well, I think I could find several convincing reasons for visiting Tsushima. I hope you enjoyed exploring this island with me. Goodbye.